hike. Today it's mid-November. It's very rainy for these next days. Occasionally we have a little sun break, but it's mostly rainy, so it's kind of hard to do stuff outside. However, I am going to do something now because every year at the end of January or February, when I see other people's snowdrops have come up and they look so beautiful, and it's encouraging that yes, spring will come, and I don't have any because I have not purchased the bulbs and planted them the previous fall. Well, this year I'm going to break that cycle. We're going to plant some snowdrops. So what I purchased here is a single snowdrop, Galanthus warrenoi. It's going to be really cute. There are 15 bulbs in this packet, and it says that in a square foot you should have about 12 bulbs. Well, I'm going to cram them in a little bit more, and I decided to use this container here, which is a little bit more than a 12 inch, but it's not, it's not 12 square inches, but it's going to be close. And I'm going to put the 15 in there. So what I'm going to use is some potting medium that has some perlite in it, because snowdrops really want drainage. They don't want to be wet in the soil. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to plant them about 3 inches deep. So I'll get started in filling this pot up to the right level, and then we'll go ahead and get started in planting the snowdrops. So Galanthus, there are about 20 species of Galanthus. The plants are native to Europe and the Middle East areas, and they are in the same family as Amaryllis. So let's see, they can grow nicely in partial sun, partial shade. They want to have a planting medium or a soil. If you're putting them right in the soil, make sure that it has good drainage and some organic material in there. There, well, I've got my container filled up with my soil, and now I'm going to go grab the bulbs, but I'm going to get something else first. I'm going to add some bone meal to my container here with my snowdrop bulbs. Bone meal is high in phosphorus, and it will be really good for those bulbs as they start to grow. It will stimulate bloom, and that's what I want to see. It's not essential. Your potting medium is probably sufficient, but bone meal is a good thing for our spring blooming bulbs. It gives them a little bit of a head start. Now you can see it's kind of a brownish, tan kind of color. I'm just going to put probably about half a tablespoon or something like that in that container that's a little more than 12 inches. I think the directions say like a tablespoon per 2 square feet, so I'll just do a little bit less. Anyway, you can follow the instructions on the package that you have if you want to use bone meal. So here are the bulbs. They're pretty small, not real big. You can see that that's the root end. There's some dried roots on that. And then the pointed tip will be the sprouting end. So you're going to position it this way so that the pointed tip is going to be up. I've already placed these in here, and I'll just try and fit these in. Now this is probably closer than you would do if you were going to do it in a garden bed. That's okay. All right, I've got them in there. You can see the little bit of brown color from that bone meal, because this is here. I'll show you okay, this has a little bit of color. Just put a little bit of that in there. Now I've got some pine needles and other debris in here. That's okay. That organic material is going to be fine for this. It doesn't want to be too heavy. So if you do have clay soil you're planting in, you should really amend that so that you can ensure better drainage. Okay, let's cover these guys up. Okay, I had to come into the shed to make a little tag. I'm gonna mark it Snowdrops, Galanthus, Warrenoi, and just put that in the edge of my container here. Now, if you're going to add something like the bone meal into a bed or another container, you may want to water that a little bit. I'm not going to, because my potting medium is not very dry. It's pretty moist, and there is a lot of moisture in here. If you're using a really dry potting medium and putting it into a container, you might want to moisten it just a little bit. So we've got them planted. They're ready to go. Come on, guys, get started at the right time. Now, they do need a cold period, and that's the thing about our bulbs, our spring blooming bulbs. They do need that cold time. So that's why we plant those in the fall. Then they get into the cold temperatures of the winter. And then in late winter, we should start to see some evidence. And it's really cool, especially if there's been a little snowfall and you can still see some snowdrops peeking up and blooming. How cool is that? Now, typically, I would say that after the second year, or during the second year, the bulbs will multiply, which is great. So I'm going to, I just decided to plant it in a container rather than in the ground. We'll see if that can get really nice and full by the second year. That would be really cool. Okay, I'm going to put this, I could put it outside, but I do have squirrels who like to investigate containers where things are planted. And sometimes I make a little covering using some chicken wire and just will cover that top of the container to avoid, to make it difficult. The squirrels can't dig in there to bury something or to look for bulbs. Squirrels really do like tulip bulbs, not so much daffodil. I think they will leave daffodil alone. Not sure on the snowberry. The snowdrops. But anyway, if I was going to put this outside, I would put a little cover over it with a chicken wire. Instead, I think I'm going to put it into my unheated greenhouse. It's going to get cold in there. One reason I want to put it in the greenhouse is because we have a lot of rain happening right now. And I don't want this container to get soaked and to have the potting medium then be saturated. That's not going to be a good situation for the bulbs. So it's just going to go in the unheated greenhouse for a bit. Later I may decide to take it out and put a little chicken wire hat on it to deter the squirrels. Okay, let's get going with that. There we go. It's going to keep company with the lettuce I have going on in here and my little lemon and grapefruit trees. And a couple other things I might want to pop in here. Great. Well, if you are a fan of snowdrops, I hope that you're able to find some bulbs. Now is the time. And buy a pack and see what you can do. They really are beautiful encouragement when we get into that late winter time. Well, that's about planting snowdrops. Hope you enjoyed it. There's always more to learn in the garden. Bye-bye.